Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Devvon tutorial in raw form, and welcome to another Help Me Devvon raw tutorial. And today, in this Help Me Devvon raw tutorial, I'll be showing you guys how to fix a bad vocal recording. First, let's play the vocal recording. Listen closely. I'm going to show you how to take a vocal recording from this.
Yeah. Hate that I don't know what this is. I hate that I don't know what we are or where we're going. But
to this.
Yeah. I hate that I don't know what this is or what we're doing. I hate that I don't know what we are or where we're going. But
Okay, so first off, to identify, when I say bad vocal recording, I don't mean that the singer is bad. I don't mean that there's distortion in the vocal for this particular thing that I'm showing you. I'm saying it and showing you from a dynamic standpoint. Now, what do I mean when I say a dynamic standpoint? So basically, what I'm saying from a dynamic standpoint is when a artist is recording on the microphone, there are moments where sometimes it's very quiet and very loud. The difference between the quietest sound and the loudest sound is known as dynamics, okay? The more of a disparity you have between the quietest sound and the loudest sound, that is a more dynamic vocal because there is a bigger difference. So when it comes to us mixing this vocal, like I played you earlier, that has these big differences between quiet sounds and louder sounds, it's gonna be basically or extremely hard to mix. And the reason why is because you'll never be able to find your right levels, because sometimes when you feel you got the right level, there's a moment that just goes way too loud, or you found this other level and it's a moment that's way too quiet. Now I know what you're saying. That's where compression comes in. You're absolutely correct. But there is a way for your compressor to not work so hard if you get a better performance out of the vocalist. Meaning if the vocalist can be dynamic and knows when to get closer to the mic on those quiet moments and get further away on the louder moments. Of course, no vocal is perfect, but as engineers, we can compensate for this and create a better vocal sound initially so that when we do compress, it is a lot better. It doesn't work as hard and it'll catch even more of the nuances because it's not working so hard and you don't have to apply so much compression to get those little moments up because now they're up. How do we accomplish this sound? I'm going to show you. So the way I accomplish this sound is the very first plugin that I use nowadays is Vocal Rider. I'm going to open this right up. Now, a lot of you may be familiar with Vocal Rider. Some of you may not be. What is Vocal Rider? Long story short, what Vocal Rider allows me to do is, it's like a compressor, only it uses just volume. So instead of like a compressor that takes something and compresses it, Vocal Rider does it from a volume standpoint, which feels a little bit more natural and doesn't feel so pumpy if you do this the right way. Now, essentially, this is kind of like a compressor. It has gain reduction. It reaches a threshold and it punches it down, but it has a very unique way of how it does it. And I really like the plugin for this. So I'm going to play this with Vocal Rider. I want you to get an idea of what it sounds like. Check this out. I'm going to bypass this back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it one pass without Vocal Rider, and then I'll play it again with Vocal Rider. And I want you to pay very close attention to the difference between the quiet sounds and the louder sounds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move on over to a more dynamic part of the vocal, meaning I'm going to move on over to a part of the vocal where there is a decent amount of dynamics, meaning a big difference between a loud moment and a quiet moment. Let's listen to this loud moment and quiet moment right now. Look at this closely.
I hate that I don't know what we are.
So you hear that moment where it's really loud and then it gets extremely quiet. Check out what Vocal Rider helps me do. I'm gonna bypass this, listen to it now.
I hate that I don't know what we are.
It help close that gap a lot. Now, is it perfect? Is it completely right there and bringing that quiet sound up with that loud sound? No, but did it get it closer so that our compressor now doesn't have to work that hard and now we're getting more nuances? Absolutely. Listen one more time to this moment. I'm going to play it without the vocal rider and now with the vocal rider.
I hate that I don't know what we are.
With vocal rider.
I hate that I don't know what we are.
So you hear that it brought that quiet moment up and that loud moment, it controlled it a little bit more, giving us a more concise vocal so that when we start to compress, there's not so much compression that we're going to have to use to really get it to be tight. Why is this important to you? The tighter you have those dynamics controlled in your song, the easier it is it's going to be to sit in your mix, and it's just going to be overall, it's just going to sound a lot better. Those nuances in the vocals are going to come out more because we're turning that up with volume, and then the loud parts are going to be more controlled as well. So this is a really awesome technique. I really implore you guys to try it out for yourselves. I use this and put the vocal rider at the very front of my chain as far as trying to get that level to a more concise place. What I'm going to do for you guys too as a bonus is I'm going to leave this preset that I've created for vocal rider down in the description below for you guys so that you can just test it out, try it for yourself, and put it against your vocals. Of course, you should tweak this. You should find settings that work for you specifically. But I'm going to leave this in the description so you can just load this right in to your own thing and see what it is. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you guys to comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you come to helpmedevvon.info for some of our templates, presets like this one as well. And make sure you also join our Discord community as well. Now, as a bonus, before I get out of here, I will show you guys some of the knobs, bells, and whistles of the vocal rider because I have to show you some of this stuff. Okay. So this is the vocal rider. Basically, you have the range, which is basically asking you, the top knob is asking you, what's the loudest you want us to boost the signal? And right here is saying how much can basically set what's the lowest that it would go past 0 or under 0. So this is where you set your range, of course. Range meaning the dB as far as how much to boost, how much should I be cutting. So we're basically saying, hey, you can boost from 9 dB and bring it all the way down to 1 dB once it passes a certain threshold, which is this right here. Works very similar to a compressor if you wrap your head around it. I also have my sensitivity turned all the way up, and I love that vocal rider also has a vocal sensitivity as opposed to a music sensitivity as well, because it understands that these are two different types of signals. Thus, you can control music or vocals depending on what the actual audio is that you're trying to basically get more of a temperament on. Of course, you have it here, it says fast or slow, very self-explanatory. How soon do you want this to engage as far as bringing it down and bringing it back up? So that was my tutorial on how to fix bad vocals. Of course, to let you know, when it comes to bad vocals, this wasn't a bad vocal at all. There were just some moments where I felt like it could be better. And so we compensated and fixed it. If your vocal is distorting, if your vocal is overall just not of good quality, the best thing you can always do is re-record it. Always keep that in mind. So that was my tutorial on how to fix a bad recording. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe. Also follow Chris, talented singer. I'll put her Instagram below. Also make sure you follow us at Help Me Devvon on the Instagram. And also make sure you join our Discord community with a bunch of aspiring engineers like yourself. Make sure you also go on over to helpmedevvon.info to basically get this preset and other bells and whistles and all kinds of goodies just for you. I hope that was helpful, and until next time, you guys.